Bank had this big Sunday show, also streaming on Cannon Fodder TV. Yeah, another weekend of football. Not the ideal result at the end of the day. I think more, safe to say. But yeah, we sit there still in a position where we didn't dream at the start of the season, did we? So I'm joined again by Des and Liam tonight. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a great little a show. Please get your questions in on the live chat, and yeah, let us know your thoughts. But guys, yeah, disappointing, or like what I said down
Yes.
on the scroll, was it a point gained or 2 points dropped?
No, oh, no, no. Go on, Liam, you go first, mate, because you were going to say that. So you go first, and then I'll say what I've got.
Yeah, it's 2 points dropped, isn't it? It's a home game. It's a home fixture. It's a game that we need to be winning. Should be winning. We didn't win for quite a few circumstances, in my opinion. But with the Manchester results coming out today, yeah, it's definitely 2 points dropped. Bit of a bad weekend at the office, if we're being frankly honest.
And you,
Yeah,
Des?
well, for me, mate, I hate it when someone says a bit of point. And no disrespect to you, Paul, just because of the way you said it, but I hate it when people say get point gained or 2 points dropped. It's
Yeah.
nothing else. 2 points dropped, is it? You know what I mean?
That's why I put
I
it in
mean-
there. Quite funny.
I know, but it depends how you feel about it, I suppose. But to me, it's like Liam said, definitely 2 points dropped. And for the reasons we lost the points before, will make it worse. That's what's hard to swallow. You know what I mean? And we'll obviously talk about that as and when, but that's what's made it really, really hard to swallow. And yeah, well, let's carry it.
I know, obviously, it wasn't obviously shown on the UK on TV. So yeah, a lot of people weren't probably able to watch it live or do it, get a stream. Yeah, IPTV, it does wonders. If anyone needs help getting that, then let me know. But yeah, no, I look at it like that, and I think with the chances that we had in the first half, or certainly, sorry, Brentford had in the first half, had they have taken them, that may have been a totally different game. And that's why I suddenly talk about that kind of potentially, is it a point gain? Because on another day, we've seen it before where we've had games at the Emirates and we've had like teams that have had like one chance on goal and they've come away with the points. But yeah, I look at those guys, those ones. But as I say, we know what's going to be coming in this show. But yeah, it is points drop. But yeah, we'll delve into it after this. So yeah, it's done. Another tough game against Brentford, isn't it? And Thomas Frank again. The last time when we played him first game when they come up, he made the masterclass, didn't he? They made the little masterclass, the video of him how he beat Arsenal, and you saw it, and it was just It was one. It was almost a bit like the Jones, the manager for Southampton, where he come out and just kind of basically said, "Yeah, I'm not basically the best in Europe with what I've done, and look how he's ended up." I don't know, but he's done a decent job there, isn't he, Thomas Frank? In all honesty, and when you look at how they play, they are a tricky team to play against, and it's shown by the games in the top four. I mean, we're the only team to have not lost to them this season, haven't we? And yeah, to see some of the results against like those teams, Man United and stuff. Do you see that performance? The City performance, even Tottenham. Sorry, I've gone below the top four. But yeah, you look at those kind of like results. They've taken points off teams. So very, very disappointing. I think overall, um, we spoke about this as well, Liam, didn't we? About Saturday 3 o'clock games,
Yeah.
where everyone has been wanting that kind of real traditional 3 o'clock Saturday games. Everyone gets up for them, wants to see them, and then you actually see them, and they're like a cheap firework almost in the way the output in. You suddenly see that from the atmosphere to just the actual games itself, and you suddenly go, I wish it was a 4:30 kind of like Sunday Sky game or whatever, and you just think it just seems so weird. Yesterday, I don't know what it felt to you. I know you were up in London early for breakfast, weren't you, Liam? But when I got there, it was like it just seemed a little flat. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think even in the pubs before, and I was in the pub earlier, as you said, and like it didn't get busy till about 1:15, and then you think there's only probably about an hour before people then start going to the stadium. So I don't think many people have had much to drink by that point, where you get the extra hour, an hour and a half, don't you? If you do a 4:30 kickoff, or if you've got an evening game. But it makes me laugh that everyone wants these 3 o'clock Saturday kickoffs. We never particularly play well in them. We never particularly play well. I remember games last year against who we played last year, Watford, and we only won late on. Brentford last year, get as well, 2-1. It weren't good the first half. So 3 o'clock kickoffs, everyone wants a 3 o'clock kickoff, obviously, because of the social and all that. But it's more the socials after the game, where not really much happens before game, and I think that has an effect. But yeah, I thought yesterday night, I thought everyone was going to be more well up for it. Do you know what I mean? I even noticed, like going in at half time again, coming out of half time, so many seats were empty at that point. That hasn't happened for a while. I think these ticket issues at the moment, that people don't want to sell them on because they're worried about the club. But then you've got other people that are obviously selling them on and obviously making money out of them. You've got everything going on in the background with that. I think a lot of people I knew couldn't go on tickets yesterday, but there was empty seats all around the stadium, which is gutting because I know quite a lot of people who couldn't get hold of them who've been going to games week in, week out for the last 3 to 4 years. So that's disappointing. And yeah, I just think like the team never come out as well. And I think where we've gone from such a high of beating Tottenham and Manchester United, I think obviously reality's kicked in a little bit, isn't it? Like not every game's going to be like a Tottenham or Manchester United, and I think the players need to do more as well in these kind of games. I know obviously people were saying about the fans, but there was no pace to our game. No pace to our game in the first half whatsoever. It's just like plodding football, weren't it? And it was just literally like that all game. And I think we only broke them once in the whole game. And I don't think the players give the fans much to cheer about as well. But the fans need to be doing it. We're top of the league. We've got a great chance of winning the league. And I think from probably the club, the players to the fans, we all let ourselves down a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I pictured the stadium being like real kind of like buzzing, and I'm still using that Man United game as that barometer, and it almost felt like this game was like a different, and I'm talking maybe like not as different as a women's game, but maybe say a Carabao Cup game where you suddenly see a few different faces and not quite the same kind of intensity and the same vibe. But again, yeah, you do need the team to kind of push it through a little bit. I'm not saying
does concern me though, mate. What does concern me a little bit here, yeah? Like you say that, it felt a bit more like there were a lot of different fans, even around me. Like, are people thinking, gee, cash in? Like, I can make myself a quick £100 here.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that and get, like, it's February. People are struggling anyway, ain't they? Cost of living and all that. Arsenal top of the league. I can sell my ticket for £150 here. But, yeah, you're right. There was a lot of different faces in even where I was yesterday. And I do think a few people are taking advantage of obviously that situation. Us being top people desperate for tickets, but also it's February, isn't it? People are struggling.
Yeah, no, it's a sad time, and we might touch on it if we got a little bit of time about that kind of the whole kind of
Just going on what Liam's just saying to sort of like back him up, right? I'm on
yeah
a meet. I'm in Newcastle. I'm on a meter here, right? So I can see what I'm doing with everything that I spend regarding energy and all that. And just as an example, me and my missus in the last 2 days spent 35 quid on gas in 2 days. That's crazy. That's crazy prices for people who can't afford it. And to be honest, it's going to. You know what? If it keeps going the way it's going, guys, it's going to affect Arsenal next season because people ain't going to be able to afford to.
well, it's going to be it'll be a different base, won't it? Again, we
It'll
talk
be
we
game by game, Paul, you know.
we've talked about it for years, where say it's a working class kind of game where the working class fan that they'll be priced out of it because they can't really go to it because needs must,
Yeah.
and it will become a corporate entity, and you'll end up finding that the stadium be full of like business kind of people as opposed to your true fans.
Do you think as well? Yeah, let's expand on that for a second, and then I'll go back to what I was going to say about the game in a minute. But do you also think with the Super League trying to get back in, even though they're saying that it's going to be 14 games a season, this cost of living thing, as you just said, is pushing the common man out. So is that going to be able to push the Super League in even further because it'll only be your rich people or your better off people that can afford the season tickets, as an example? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we have no bearing or control over whether or not that happens. Yeah, we had the issue where they tried to push it through, didn't we? And we voted with the protests and everything like that, and that was staunch. That was a staunch answer to them to say no, we're not. But if that does want to be forced through and done, we ain't just gonna turn around and say, yeah, we're not going to go and do it, and they'll suddenly say, oh, okay, that's fine. They're just going to say, okay, well, these guys will pay the price, and it's just like with all these kind of things we were saying about, oh, the protest against the Cronkies or all those years back, you're suddenly saying, right, okay, don't turn up for the games, blah blah blah, or don't use your tickets, but then or sell your or what not so much sell your tickets, but don't renew season tickets. Well, if you don't renew your season tickets, some other guy's going to come and take them.
Exactly.
You know, it's not going to happen. So there's always going to be someone there who will want to take it and move on, and you'll never get past that. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a time where if they do push it through, then yeah, it's not going to make them weaker, is it? In all honesty, it's just going to make there's a different clientele for it. And for someone who could just rack up air miles just for a bit of fun, it's great. I've had candid conversations with some of my mates, and when you suddenly think about lifestyles and how it's been through the years, to then suddenly having the frank, real conversation saying, I'm kind of struggling. And you do look at it and you think it does hit home. You know, you're not in a bad job or whatever, but when you're still not able to make ends meet, it's a shame.
What is the price of an Arsenal season ticket this season? What was the price of an Arsenal season ticket this season?
Ours is well, me and Liam are in the same block, so we're quite good. So we're like 4 rows from each other. But it's like
It's just under 900, isn't it?
it was just under 900 this year, yeah. But it has been through lockdown about 600.
That's still a wedge, though, isn't it? It's still a wedge.
Yeah, it's still a wedge.
Yeah, it's a massive wedge. It's a massive wedge, isn't it? And like, you know, as we said, like with the cost of living, like you're saying, gas, electric, especially things like that, people are wham things up, aren't they? And I do think like games like yesterday, people you seeing what's going on in the background in terms of ticket prices and what they're going for, and thinking, do you know what? I can make a little bit of money here and just miss a game. And to be honest, yeah, anyone who did do that yesterday probably did the right thing with being frankly honest, yeah, because it was a disappointing game.
Yeah.
Every fan would have walked out there pissed off, and you just sat there and thought, "Yeah, I'm 100 quid up." And it's the way it is now, isn't it? Everyone's got to look after themselves. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got to try and fight for themselves and all that. It's so hard out there. Everyone's living the same kind of life, really. But I do agree with you, Des. I think the way football's going, I think it wouldn't even surprise me soon if they just do like a league season ticket. Do you know what I mean? And then I have, because I know they're cutting down games next year, aren't they, Paul?
Yeah, they've changed it for next season where we've only got 21 games rather than 26. So normally we'd have seven cup games, and then the 19 league games. Now it's 19 plus 2 cup games.
Does
I
that
don't
mean
see
that,
why. I don't see the point why they give us 2 cup games personally. Do you know what I mean?
No, they say you then got the first refusal on the cup games moving forward as season ticket holders, but again, it
They
should
make
be
more
one.
money out of that, ain't they?
Yeah, well, they've dangled the carrot to say, yeah, you're going to be paying less for season tickets, but then you'll be paying more. So we've had a 4% rise for next season.
but if
Um,
we're only having 20 odd games, does that mean that more teams are going to get relegated?
no, it's nothing to do with the league itself. It's just 19 games, the league games. That's what the season ticket will give, and then two additional like cup games.
I do think it's a good idea. I do actually think it's a good idea because I think you think around the many of empty seats where people just don't bother going. Like it's the UEFA Cup game Thursday night. Do you know what? I can't be bothered, and like them tickets could be sold elsewhere. So I do get why they're doing it, and they probably will put ticket prices up, but it will give a chance to other people to be able to go to the game, won't it?
Yeah, they've said 150,000 more tickets should be available for, say, like red or silver members.
Oh, right, yeah,
next.
there's different colours, different levels.
Yeah. So, yeah, what was you going to say to the game?
I'm finding it really hard to talk about this game, actually, because it's crazy.
Okay, shall we move on?
No, because I'm going to say the thing. I was absolutely raging yesterday, dude, honestly. Right, let's break it down. First half was bad, right? But we weren't getting the first ball. The only time we were getting first ball was if Rambo was passing it out to feet. That's the only time we were getting first ball. Tony, I don't know how he does it. He gets our players all twisted up. I mean, Saliba, he had Saliba in his pocket, really, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, I'll go into that as well.
Well, yeah, but there's the one where, I mean, I want you to crack on with it in a minute, but the one where we gave away the free kick, which they scored on. I mean, he had his arms around the back and had hold of Saliba, pulling him into him. So, is that not a? I mean, oh mate, I'm raging. Please carry on. I'm raging.
Yeah, I was more surprised at the start when I saw the lineup because there was lots of talk. They're saying he was potentially going to go and change it up and mix up with Martinelli, with Trossard, and Ben White potentially with Tomiyasu. And look, he kept an unchanged team. And you looked at it and you think, well, he must have seen something at training. In all honesty, with the group, how they reacted to that result at the weekend, there was no probably tiredness or like weariness looking in those players, and they looked probably up for it and really hungry. So you kind of maybe say just got to carry on with what you've got, and it could easily have made the changes and had a similar result. I think, but it's just I think they're just awkward. I just think they're awkward to play. And when you've got Mbemba, is it Mbembo? Mbembo?
Yeah, that's Mbemba.
Him and Tony, where they literally are so tight to each other, makes it incredibly hard as well.
I mean, they were playing direct yesterday. Yeah. And the thing that got me as well, we were only getting chances really outside the area. Yeah. But when they got 9 people, in the area, it's like a ping pong thing. You know what I mean? Who's it going to bounce off of? Because there was no clean shots, was there really? Think about it, right?
No.
And this game also hasn't done any favours for Eddie and Nketiah for when Jesus comes back. And I'm going to say the Everton game either, because can you tell me anything Eddie did yesterday? Because I didn't see him do nothing.
I think that's hard.
Even though Odegaard, I mean, yeah, I know people giving him praise lately, and he deserves that praise, right? But I think he's made Arteta's. If he keeps going the way he's going, he's made Arteta's choice to bring Jesus back in a lot easier because even Odegaard was telling him to get in the box. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he had that one turn where he could have possibly had a shot, but that got blocked. Question to you, lads: do you think these teams, these lower teams, yeah, say middle of the table to bottom of the table, do you think they've worked this out? Because in a way, Brentford kind of played exactly the same way.
I don't think Eddie and Ketty are offers us enough in these kind of games, if I'm being frankly honest with you. And I'm gonna be quite ruthless what I say. In the summer, I would still be looking for another striker, even on top of Balogun, if he returns, because there's two reasons why. The first reason, we're going to be in Champions League, and we're going to need to rotate because obviously it becomes we're playing serious midweek football. We're not playing Europa Cup. We're our second team. But secondly, he's done all right. Look, he's done all right. I don't want to sit here and totally slate him off because he has done all right. He won us the game at Man United. He's had a few good games. He had a few good games last year as well. But for me, over a substantial period of time, I don't think he suits the system, and I think players around him don't play as well when Jesus is playing. So take Martinelli for example. His form's dipped since Jesus.
Martinelli definitely missing Jesus.
Because what Jesus does, he calls it. I don't want to say the words mayhem, but he does. He causes havoc, don't he? To center, he causes havoc around it, where he can go out to the left, he can go out to the right, he can literally go deep into the central and run the ball at you. We've seen it on loads of occasions. Okay, he might not score the goals he wants, like we probably would like to see him score at the moment. But what he does do, he makes everyone else play around him. And I just think Eddie's too static at times. I think he's too central. And what these teams do, they just obviously stick the two centre backs on him. They sit the defensive midfield deep, don't they? And they just literally soak it up and then hit us on the counter attack. And that's all what Brentford did. They just soaked it up here, right? And then they just went long and they just went direct. And do you know what? If he didn't have all the issues that he had, Ivan Toney, I'd have him in at Arsenal all day long.
Oh, I said that at the beginning of the season. I'd have it.
Because what he does is, if you have someone like him away from home at Everton, when things ain't going right for you, when you do need to go a little bit more direct, a little bit more long at times, just to hold the ball up for a good 10, 15 minutes, that is your man. Like I thought he was unbelievable yesterday. Like I thought he was that good. He was that good yesterday. And like you said, Saliba, that would have been a big lesson for him yesterday in terms of like the kind of centre backs he's going to have to come up with in the Premier League. He'll never play someone like Ivan Toney in the French league. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I do think when Jesus returns, I think you'll see a lot more click in terms of Odegaard, in terms of Martinelli, even Saka to it. It's like Saka still being Saka. Like he still conjured up the goal yesterday, didn't he? Like it was an incredible cross when you think about it. But we need Jesus back, and we need him back sharpish now. And he has to go straight back into the team. He has to play if we think that we can go on and win the league. He's got to be there.
Yeah, I think what you find is when you've got all these different units within the group, they've all got to play to their optimum, haven't they? With one of those kind of units, or kind of say, I even look at it like triangles. If one of those triangles is slightly off key or slightly not at 100%, then that has a big effect on the other ones around. And I'm talking about the left-hand side or whatever. And you look at it from that kind of creative side. And I found Nketiah just maybe find himself coming deeper to try and get the ball. I actually had it on there on Sky today. The match of the day.
Do you think he tries to take too much on, Paul?
Huh?
Do you think he tries to take too much on?
Well, as in what? As in pressure, or just tries to...
When he gets the ball, do you think he tries to do too much sometimes when he could, just have a crack? Have a crack. You know what I mean?
I just think when you're probably in those positions he's at, they're very crowded areas, aren't they? And you look at it like that. He needs to be played in behind. And I think this is one of our reasons. What we need to be looking to do is to try and turn those teams round and getting the ball wide and actually getting our strikers to actually run in behind. That's our potential plan B, where we should be looking to actually use our pace, and that's where in Ketia, that's where Balogun scored today with a goal, with a through ball straight through.
I would have called him back. I really would have.
Look, I'd still say you chuck Nketiah in that French league, he does exactly the same.
Do you reckon?
Yeah,
You could be right. No, you could be right. Yeah, you could be right.
I look at his record still in the under-21s, and I suddenly say that's still unbeaten. He's still the record holder.
But
he hasn't.
To me, he needs to feed him that ball where he runs onto it. You know, and then he can do something with it. Where he's not so much. He's not a reaction. He's not so quick at reacting in the box as say Jesus is.
There's more experience. There's more, like I say, mayhem, which is involved with Jesus, and we know that. And yeah, that kind of ability to kind of pick up the ball on the wing to then cut inside and go and find somewhere else is a bit more natural to him.
That's where the guys just said there about Matt. We see that Martinelli and Saka getting doubled up, but that's where Jesus comes into play. Do you know what I mean? That's where Jesus stops all that, because when he drifts out there, then you obviously got two of them, and they can't do that to one player. Like, that's the difference between Jesus and Nketiah. Jesus can play that game. Nketiah, he's more of a fox in the box, isn't he? But like I said, like he's had his good games and he can come deep for the ball and all that, but. I just think, at the moment, like, we've got away with it for quite a while, which is good, and we'll probably get Jesus back in the team hopefully in the next week or two, and we'll still be literally near the top of the league. Like, we was all worried, weren't we, when Jesus got injured? Like, what was we going to do up front? We've got away with it for a good month, 2 months, but we're not going to get away with it for another 2 months. No way are we going to get away with it for another 2 months.
I mean, the thing is, like Tony yesterday. He's like a ghost. He just appears. Boom, goal. You know what I mean? You know he's there, but then before you turn around and look and see if he's still there, he's somewhere else, like Jesus would be. You know what I mean? And Eddie, I don't want to come on here and slag Eddie off, because I think Eddie's done really, really, really well. But I've just noticed, it's just more of a notice, I've noticed in the last couple of games, he just isn't cutting it. The way
we know he's not a marquee signing, and he's one that's got a lot to try and show, hasn't he? He's got to go and prove it. And again, this is where he's going to live or die by his, on his sword, isn't he? At the end of the day, and
I'm not disagreeing with what both of you are saying. It annoys me, because I know there's an absolute brilliant player in there if he wants to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's the same with Balogun as well. And I say I wouldn't class Balogun potentially as the answer what we think we're looking for or needing. But I agree with Liam, when we go into Champions League next year, 4 strikers would be
who would you go after, Paul? Genuinely, who would you go after?
It really is hard to really kind of gauge what profile is he wanting to really kind of use. We could stay here and we could chuck in 5-10 players. You know what I mean? You look at obviously the last couple of transfer windows where we've been linked with players. Well, Vlahovic for one.
Yeah.
Would he be? I'm looking at it. I'm still looking at what he's done for Juventus, and I'm suddenly thinking, would he really have been the answer?
We go to the bullet.
For us, and you're suddenly thinking, I don't really know. You know what I mean? You look at it and just think,
It's unfortunate Ivan Toney's got his issues, because he'd be up there, like my first choice at the moment.
I was just going to ask that if he gets acquitted of everything, you definitely go after him, would you? Because I would.
Yeah. All day long, mate. All day long, mate. And I'll tell you why I would, right? There's 2 reasons why I would. The first reason is, right, because he's an alternative. Okay, so we can mix it up in games. So we know when we can go away up north to places like Leeds, Everton, all them horrible little grounds that you got to go to where the crowds are on top of you. You know he's going to get amongst it all. Do you know what I mean? He ain't frightening no one. Yeah, he's got some behavioural issues, but I think they can still be worked on. Do you know what I mean? If he was cleared of everything, and 100%, I'd go for him. And the second reason I'd go for him is because he fits the pro. He fits the pro in terms of his English. He's still young, and he was 25, 26. Like he's still got his best years ahead of him, and I think he's one of these players who's got that confidence. He's got that arrogance, and sometimes I think as a striker you need that arrogance to go out there and say I'm the man. And he's definitely that kind of geezer who would walk into our club and think he's the man. And okay, there's a bit Woody gel with the team, but Arteta would be able to. Arteta's obviously shown that he can manage big
He can
players.
hold the ball up as well, Cowley, can't he? He can hold the ball up well.
You need that away from home. You need that. You need that at times. We needed it yesterday for a while. You need that in certain games where you just need that striker to hold the ball up, take that pressure off your midfield and defence for a good 10, 15 minutes, especially away from home. And we haven't had that player for a long time, have we? We haven't had that player for a long time. Probably since Oliver Giroud. It's been like we've had that kind of player. But the problem when we had Oliver Giroud, we didn't have another alternative for him really. But yeah, we don't want another pacey player. We've got that in Jesus. We've got Eddie Nketiah who can do certain stuff. Balogun, obviously, we need someone who's going to be an alternative, who's going to be able to offer us something we don't have already.
I mean, we've got loads of players who are really good with the ball at their feet, don't they? Do you know what I mean? So, for example, ball at their feet, good with it. Martinelli, Jesus, Odegaard, Saka, and they're just four. Probably Partey when he's on a good day. With the ball at his feet, it's really good. I would even say Trossard is proven at the ball at his feet is really good. I'd agree with you, Liam. We need that lad that's willing to run, straight forward, bang, have a go. Do you know what I mean?
If you're centre back, yeah, right. You don't want someone like him coming up against you, do you? Like
No.
That's Saliba's worst game of the season not in terms of his performance, but that's the game where he sat there and thought, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I've got up against him." Do you know what I mean? He's probably sat there after 5 minutes. For fuck's sake, I've got another 85 minutes of this. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of person that you want, who's going to put fear into the centre backs. And what else he'll do, right? He will hold that ball up. He will get people like Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard on the ball. Do you know what I mean? Because what he does, and I think he would have been my prime option if there isn't stuff going on in the background. But we don't know yet, do we? Like you're probably looking at a good 60 million for him. I reckon he's got to be 50, 60 million at least.
Not going to be wanting to push it.
On today's price is most definitely. You know what I mean? You're not going to pick him up at that price.
Adam? What do you think so, Paul?
I don't think they'll do us any favours. I'd say for price wise, so it's going to take a massive fee to get him.
Yeah, he's going to be at least 60 plus, I think.
We're not going to get him in the bargain bracket. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
But look, if that is what he's identified as potential, the profile that he wants, and he's that player that is something different, and he thinks that we do need to do that, then pay the money. He's proven. Go and get it done. But I'd say, it's brilliant that you brought up about Giroud because, that was like the total kind of like the spin round, wasn't it? Where literally we had him playing, but then there was no real other one to really kind of be that little pace merchant and really, really getting in around. And, the holding up the ball for him became harder because we started getting too far away from him. So whereas there'll be the time he was holding up 3-4 players to get the ball, to bring it down to Cazorla. And then eventually, when he was doing it and holding the ball up, it was like everyone was too far away and he just kept on losing the ball. But, we do need someone to kind of maybe, at certain stages of certain games, be able to take the pressure off, be that presence in that kind of higher end of the pitch anyway, and just get the ball under control and bring others into the game as well. Allow us to move up and build, but then also provide proper headaches to their defenders, because I think we struggle with that at the minute because we're not that real physical team, are we?
No.
Apart from corners with even looking at say even like Gabriel or Ben White, Saliba, I wouldn't look at them and say they're the most like imposing kind of players. Certainly when they're coming up for corners, or taking like Burnley or something like that, where you suddenly look at all those that are coming up for corners or whatever, and all the other teams, yeah, like even Newcastle, I'd say, just like even just with the amount of like the tall players they got, they just seem a bit more imposing and a bit more. You could be a bit more worried about it. And that goal that we conceded was probably a lot about that. Where you're suddenly thinking, and it's going to lead me to a point about you saying about Saliba and not being probably one of his better games because he'd have learnt a bit.
As I said before, Tony had it in his pocket, mate.
Yeah, well, and it led me on to that game at the Etihad against Haaland and Rob Holding. And you're suddenly telling me Holding had a bad game just because he got booked. Yeah, he might have had a couple of nervy kind of moments with the goalkeeper, but in the most part of that first half, he handled him very well, and he had that physical battle
Again, I agree with you.
nailed. And yeah, my concern is that when Saliba's got that player physical up on him, he doesn't deal with that so well. He's great with the ball at his feet and coming out with the ball and being able to use it and being calm with the ball and bringing it out. But when that physical moment comes, I don't think he's as imposing or as confident as he would normally be. And I look at that ball. Christ, we're talking about 3 or 4 different phases of play for that goal. 3 or 4 headers that have gone in the box unchallenged.
Yeah.
And it was only the ball that went over. It went over to Odegaard. Someone's jumped up, and then you've got Ben White almost still just like looking at it and not even moving towards the ball. Whereas I'm thinking a holding is going to come straight through the ball.
Do you think, Paul, right, watching that, just something I thought today, yeah, right, looking at this game, and sometimes I reckon, like, maybe we don't react quickly enough to tactical stuff. Like, we've started conceding a lot of goals straight after we've conceded, after we scored it, especially at the Emirates, didn't we, over the last few matches? Like, you see, we score goals and then we literally concede within 7-8 minutes. That game yesterday, let's be honest, when we were 1-0 up, we didn't deserve to be 1-0 up whatsoever. Would it have been quite mine? I wouldn't. Do you know what? It probably would have been a bit too early. But could you have either brought Jorginho on into a centre midfield and put the 3 in there of him, Xhaka, and do you know what I mean? Stuff it up, or could you have gone 3 at the back and then brought one of the centre backs on? Do you know what I mean?
That was a little bit of comical value on with mate next, and there you go. Is it too late to bring on or too early to bring on Holding?
But I don't think it was in that game because I just think
it was like
there's certain games where you just, do you know what I mean? Just make that decision. Whether it was 70 odd minutes when it well, I didn't think it was too early to be fair yesterday because what he was doing to those centre backs, yeah, right. That I think if we'd had a spare centre back and chucked maybe Rob Holding in there with them, I think like we potentially could have stopped that kind of situation. And sometimes I just think like since we've conceded.
Yeah.
Or scored goals, sorry. We're conceding goals very soon after. And I think we get 2, like, we've got to score the second, we've got to score the second, we've got to score the second, and then forget about what's going on at the back as such. Like, it was poor from the get-go, wasn't it? It was poor how the free kick was conceded. Then, like you said, we hadn't even got into the ins and outs of the goal, but that head, it must have gone about 3-4 headers before it's in the back of the net. And you just sit there and think, how we conceded that. And I do think yesterday was one of them games when Arteta maybe could have potentially made a substitution after the goal just to try and see the game out.
I agree with you, Liam, because I just want to come in on that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right, I look at it this way: we've scored. We're not having the best of games. Do what Arsenal can do: shut it down. Shut it down. We had 20 minutes to go. Yeah. Shut it down. So take off Partey. Bring on Jorginho. Yeah. Because he's going to slow the game down anyway. We don't. If we just treated it like the old school Arsenal 1-0, take the 1-0, and that'd be great, yeah? So I would have took Partey off, brought on Jorginho, slow the game down, right? Still play about in the midfield, but slow it down, yeah? And that goal yesterday, just to carry on from what you guys were saying, yeah? It was like, do you remember that game we used to play? I mean, talking as I'm an ex-keeper as well, okay? it was like a game of headers and volleys in our area. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it wasn't going back out of our area, it was just bouncing around our area.
Side to side. It's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a massive game of headers and volleys, mate. And I've got to say, when I saw, don't get me wrong, I love Rambo, right? I love him a bit. But when I saw him flap, when he flapped to get that, to stop that lad, the other Norwegian lad, Norgard, what it was called, to volley it over and then totally just dink it in, I thought, as soon as he flapped, I went, goal. Because there was nobody that we all stood, like Liam said, I think you said it, Liam, we all stood still. And I've got to say, this season, Arsenal are rubbish at defending set pieces. Even though we've got the best back on, and they're great, even though they've had a bad day for the last couple of weeks, we are rubbish at defending set pieces. Absolutely diabolical at defending set pieces. And it just annoys me. And that's probably why I was raging yesterday as well. Because even though Rambo can control his back four, and his back four listen to him, right? We don't shut down quick enough sometimes, and also that goal yesterday. But then I suppose it comes down to the offside as well, because maybe we were stood still because we thought it was offside, yeah, as in players, right? But even if it was offside, it wasn't offside. We still should have been moving to stop that goal, and we were stood still.
Yeah, because to be honest, you're right. If it was an offside, and I think he might have just got there, Ramsdale, but at the end of the day, goal was given. But do you know what? I think there has been a few moments when Ramsdale does kind of flap out a little bit, don't he? So I don't want to be too critical of him because I think like there's been games where he's kind of saved us as well. But I just think like yesterday, I'm turning around to look at the guy next to me after 20 minutes, and I went, they're going to score from it. They'll score from set piece. They'll score from the set piece today. And when that free kick got given, I turned around to him, where's they'll score from this? I just knew they'll score from it. You just know in yourself when it's going to happen because, like you said, there was so much mayhem in the box yesterday where they were putting them balls directly into us. But we just didn't slow, like you said, we just didn't slow the game down when we were 1-1 up. And it was like we was looking for that second goal. And I think yesterday wasn't the kind of game where you needed to be searching for the second goal. You needed to prioritise to slow that game down. Do you know what I mean? Get a bit of a different reshape into that last 20 minutes and basically see out the game ugly. I'll talk about that after in terms of when we talk about the referees and all that. But yesterday was a game where, do you know what? You win 1-0 and we will sit on the show tonight and we'll go, do you know what? We was fucking awful, Des. But do you know what? We won ugly. We won ugly yesterday, mate. That's what title winners do.
It's still 3 points as well, isn't it, Liam? It doesn't matter whether it's 1 goal, 2 goals, 10 goals.
Don't matter, mate.
It's 3 points. And that at this stage in the season, I'd take a 1-0 every week if it's getting me 3 points.
And that is the reason why we didn't win the game was because I think we just needed to tactically change it. And it's frustrating, isn't it? Because it's easy said and done after. Don't get me wrong, but you know as well as I do, Paul. That's what they pay for on the sidelines. But I just think yesterday was the game where we could have slowed that game down, like 1-0 up, and made that change.
Totally, mate. 100%.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and no, I think he probably could have been clever. He could have maybe said, right, okay, let's match them up, 3 at the back.
Yeah.
The thing is,
but again, with that, you don't want to say, right, okay, all right, we're gonna change shape or whatever like that, just to shore it up. 3 defenders, we make a sub, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden it does suddenly play the other end. We make all the changes to see it out, then they go and score like in that side of things, and you're suddenly thinking, okay, can you imagine then what would happen in social media and everything like that? Oh, we've gone and set up 20 minutes for, you know what I mean? Just we've tried to cover it all. We've conceded a goal, and then potentially, you never know, because we've kind of set up a little bit more defensively. We then maybe potentially go and concede or go and lose the game. I don't know. That takes it to another.
Well, I don't know, mate. I don't know. Like, I don't think you have to change it too much. Just say you could have even put Ben White at centre back and put a centre Saka play right wing back.
Yeah, well,
Do you know what I mean? You probably potentially didn't even have to make a change. You could have said Ben White, go centre back, and then put a second right wing back and go, look, we just need you to do this 15, 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
It depends how you want to look at it. It's
What I will say is, though, right, when it went back to 1-1, then I couldn't understand why we don't give Tierney 10, 15 minutes. Like, this is another player that I want to talk about tonight. What the hell is going on with Tierney? Because
he's going to go.
Yeah, I know.
Let's come back to that after just delving into the live chat. Yeah, just let's hold this whole because that was an interesting one. Because I'd like to know your thoughts on a certain player. But yeah, Conversation Club, even in all, it's lively. It's lively. Yeah, are the players a bit jaded, or is it just a lack of other options off the bench now showing? Liam?
We've got options on the bench now. I mean, look at Trossard, did they? You got to give Trossard some credit. He came on and he changed the game. I know what you mean, but you look at our bench now, and it's a lot better than what it was 2 months ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a personal preference. Sorry, who asked that question? Was that English?
Conversation Club, yeah, English.
Yeah. English. Also, it's a personal reference on that, mate. At the end of the day, if you see the bench as weak, it's weak. But I do see the bench as a lot stronger. I really do.
We just probably lack another forward. We're being taken on the show. That's probably what we lack.
Probably so, yeah. Probably so. That's what I would say.
I wouldn't say we lack anything else on there at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like we got Reece Nelson out, who is a potential person we can go to. We got Gabriel Jesus, who would obviously start. So Eddie Nketiah would probably be on the bench coming on. So we lack that, don't we? That's what we lack. We just lack that forward position. But Trossard, he come on. He made an impact, mate. I like him. I think we'll see a lot more of him as well. I think Martinelli will get taken out. I'm not sure about Wednesday, but I think Martinelli will get taken out of it for a bit, and I think Trossard will come in, and I think he'll step up. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Saka, Jesus, and Trossard, see what that could offer, because I think with Trossard, with his age, he's probably got a little bit more experience and composure in front of goal. Do you know what I mean? And I think
that's it, isn't it? It's what's going to be deeming them staying in that team is through output and that performance, and Trossard coming in. And if he is banging in a couple of goals or he is showing some really good things, certainly when he comes on, it's gonna wade it over to his side, isn't it? And Martinelli's gonna have to try and step up and try and do it. And I know we can say, oh right, he hasn't been the same since Jesus was injured, but again, you can't always play with the players that you prefer. You got to find a way. One thing I would say. There was one time he actually ventured in onto the right-hand side of the pitch. He nearly got onto that little through ball from Odegaard, little cheeky pass. And it was just a little bit too much on the pass for him to really get enough on the cross. And maybe he needs to start doing that. Almost just kind of gambling a little bit and just getting involved on that right-hand side and being a late kind of push into that kind of area.
I would like to run Martinelli down the middle, Paul.
Yeah, well,
I just don't see him doing that, do you?
No.
If he'd done it, he'd have done it sometime this season. I just don't think he's
but I just
last season, wouldn't he?
Just to change it up a bit, you know what I mean? Not to be, as with some people are calling this one-dimensional, whatever. Yeah, I would just like to see Martinelli put Trossard on the wing, right? Put Martinelli in the middle, Nketiah have a break on the bench, mate. You can come on as an impact player, right? I would just like to see that for one game, just to see how Martinelli does, how he reacts to being in the middle.
It was interesting yesterday, wasn't it? Because he didn't really play out on the left yesterday, if you noticed. He played a much different game yesterday. Numbers that was tactically, but he did definitely play a much different game yesterday, Martinelli. Yeah, he definitely played a much different game to what he usually does, Martinelli. But what about Trossard maybe in a false nine as well?
Yeah, that's another option. I mean, I'm all for that. Try something new. Try something fresh. Yeah? I'm all for it, lads. End of the day, we need to do something at the moment. We need to mix it up a little bit, possibly. All right? I know we've said in the past, and I've said it myself, if it ain't, don't fix it. But you can mix up still. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. I think a different option would be, even if it was for a Europa game, do it in a Europa game, yeah, just to test it out, right? Have Trossard on the wing, Martinelli in the middle, Saka on the right, yeah. Or you could Trossard could play where Odegaard is, as an example. You know, just something different. See how it works. Because at the moment, I think we've got to the point where we're hitting a wall. Yeah, and we're still playing well. We're still starting every game how we're meant to start.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think we need something, another string to the bow, maybe. You know.
Yeah. No. Let's hope, mate. I'm hoping that I think we've been earmarking this City game on the horizon. You know, where we suddenly say when you've always got that kind of big game on the horizon, and you kind of it's like almost. Do you remember the last couple of games before a cup final? The players don't really want to go full tilt. They don't want to get injured. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
To get ready for that cup final, and I'm toying with the idea that maybe those players are thinking that is that kind of situation. Very risky, but I'm sure it isn't that. In all honesty, because there is so much football, but it's almost maybe in that mind where that's the game that really, really matters. And should we obviously go and win that, then look, it's game on again, isn't it? It's you know what I mean. We've got that game in hand, but yeah, we've made a bit more of a gap again. But there's lots of football to be made or played, isn't there? And so every game is tricky as. So yeah. Mr. Arsenal podcast. Can we all remember to draw a line on the screen? Yeah, I'm sure we won't forget.
Robbie Fowler might be able to help us with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need one of them technical pads, don't we?
Yeah. We'll get one of those. But yeah, we'll kind of. I think we'll go on to that. I think that might just send us over the edge if we start talking about VAR.
I think we've got to at some point.
We will do. Right, Conversation Club. Yeah, Des, hope you're well, mate. Mum says that she can just about hear you. You sound a bit muffled.
Oh, do I? Sorry, Sue. Sorry.
Yeah, she won't play you this week.
There you go. Is that better?
Go on. Well, can you say hello again?
Oh,
you might as well get it right.
All right, let's get it out of the way. Hello, Sue. Hope you've had a good week. There you go. Take care.
Yeah, well done. Emerson, I prefer 3 p.m. kickoffs. It doesn't affect my routine. I just think the Brentford manager got his tactics spot on. As where
every Arsenal match should be on a Sunday.
Yeah. Anything to add on that? I think he done it well. I think he's tactic. He has got good tactics. He does work on it, doesn't
he? Yeah, he's a good manager.
He is a good manager. But every Arsenal match should be played on Sunday.
We've got to remember as well, yeah, right. There is one thing we do need to remember is that this Brentford team have gone to Man City and beat Man City. They beat Man United 4-0 at Brentford. They beat Chelsea 4-1 at Chelsea.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Well,
they beat Liverpool 3-1. So this like the only thing I do look at, yeah, right, is I think this game and the Man City game are our 2 hardest home games of the season, like remaining. And I think it's an interesting one, Paul, because it could become at the end of the season if we win the league by a point that you say actually it was actually a good point gained, but they're a very good team. Brentford, they are a very good team, and not like Man United I know Man City have got to go their last game of the season.
Who's that? Man United?
No, Man City. Man City with Brentford.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Yeah, will be an interesting one. But as I say, it's from drawing a game to winning 1-0. You know what I mean? That's what does make you champions. Those kind of games.
Yeah.
Just getting stuck in and winning dirty, ugly.
I mean, it reminds me of what they used to sing at us back in the day. Same old Arsenal. You know what I mean? But we're being cheated this season. That's the thing. You know, it's always same old Arsenal, always cheating, but we're being cheated this season. Different when the shoe's on the other foot.
There's an irony on that song, or that chant.
There is. There is.
John the Gooner, good evening. Gooners, Unai let us down. Yeah.
Done that a few times, hasn't he?
On the plus note, apparently Haaland has potentially picked up a thigh injury. I haven't seen how bad it was or whatever. But he'll take it a long time.
On another note about Haaland, apparently he's not happy and he wants to move away from Manchester City. He doesn't want to be involved with all this stuff.
Yeah. Be interesting to see. But
Madrid.
Yeah. Well, back. He might even go back to Germany, mate.
I know. Maybe Agent Odegaard might just give him a little.
You never know. Hey.
I think there's something in his contract though, isn't there, about the release clause that he has to be a foreign club.
Most probably.
That's what I heard. I'm sure it is.
It's another little.
They would say.
Sorry.
They would. Yes, no. Go on. You go first, mate.
I was just going to say, here's another little thing for the chat to think about and maybe come back at us. But apparently, I saw something on Google tonight, so don't totally believe it, but they're selling 12 players in the summer. So they bought all these players. They're already saying they're going to sell 12 players in the summer.
Who's this? Chelsea. Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So we might get Madrid.
Well, see what you said about Cucurella, even with the Shakhtar players.
Aye. Yeah. And he was laughing at. Apparently, Mudryk was laughing at a tweet that someone had put on about João Felix scoring. He found it funny. So
it does make me think. It does make me think that he's well unhappy there.
Oh, yeah, mate. I think he is.
He's well unhappy there, and he's like, yeah.
I don't know if you saw the game. Did you watch the game, the Chelsea game, whilst you were just oiling your neck in the morning, just to lubricate the throat? I didn't see the Chelsea game, no.
No, I didn't see it either.
No, I was watching it, and he hadn't touched the ball in the first 15 minutes.
João Felix or Mudryk?
No, Mudryk. And it was just like, I mean, can you imagine us spending that much money and then having a player where we didn't actually really kind of like use in the game? Well, yeah, he then had his first kind of thing was like fouling someone,
and
then go for the first goal, but he's lost. It didn't look like they want to pass to him.
See, this is the thing, right? Okay, Mudryk, I think, is a very, very good player, but the difference between Mudryk and Trossard is Trossard would come into Arsenal and hit the ground running, yeah? Plus he's got the experience. We would probably have to wait a season for Mudryk to adapt to our game. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think he wouldn't have come into the team and hit the ground running and be outplayed like we play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Surely the players that we need at this moment in time with our young current crop are tried and tested players.
Yeah, we need a bit of experience.
Not ones for potentially maybe good in a year or whatever like that. Or those ones. That's certainly that value.
I can't agree with you. We need experience, and we need players, as you say, that just come in and do their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, that's Chelsea for you, though. They're almost on Nottingham Forest kind of numbers, aren't they? Really, I think for players.
They are, yeah.
Nottingham Forest have got 420 players on their roster, haven't they?
About that, isn't it? Yeah, nearly 500. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Sold 50 in January. Emerson again. Yeah, they're a new breed of fans dotted around the stadium. As most are not even watching the match, always on their phone taking photos. Yeah, I've tended to see it quite a lot, and we talk about the tourist stadiums, don't we? Where we suddenly say, a lot of people just kind of come around with their cameras. I saw one guy in the Block 7, Liam. managed to get a beer onto the concourse, and then he was videoing a corner in the second half, and it was like, what is this all about? And didn't hear him say anything, and just literally just videoing a corner.
Some strange old cookies, definitely.
Yeah, but that's again, live the moment. I think that's what it is in the day. I don't like just recording it.
Do you know what I've noticed?
Sorry,
Hello?
No, I was about to say, sorry, I was about to say, one thing I've noticed is these people, obviously, where the tickets are going for more money, people that are coming from like America. I had a German guy sitting next to me yesterday. I know like some American people as well, but there's a lot of they're the kind of guys that will pay the big money because obviously it's like the first time for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
We normally have a group of Danish guys that come over, and one of them's actually quite good story. One of the guys is about 6'5", 6'6". I'm 6'4". He kind of towers over me, so proper Viking. And he was Danish police, and he was out in Copenhagen for our cup final, and he was actually serving on the police then. So, but he obviously comes down with his little group, and he come down for the game today, or sorry, yesterday. And normally they're a good little laugh, but didn't get a chance to meet him this time around. But again, some will pay lots of money, but if we get some tickets that we can't go to, then there you go. They're yours if you're coming over.
I go to a match, so I switch my phone off. I don't have nothing to do with it. I just switch it off. My missus can't even get over me if I'm watching a match. You know what I mean?
Frustrates me, but unfortunately, this is the way. I remember being in the East Stand. It was in the Emirates. Probably one of the first couple of games in that first season. I remember seeing someone reading a big old kind of like Telegraph paper during the first half of one of the games. And it was like I was literally just like turned sideways and just they like literally just occasionally glancing up to look at the pitch. It was like, what? What is this all about?
Why are you taking a seat up, fella? Why are you taking a seat up?
I know. It's amazing. It really is crazy. But I don't know, fans,
Hey.
Conversation Club. Yeah, I don't think we're looking at 3 p.m. as an excuse. I think it's just more. I think everyone kind of just wants that as a traditional moment. There obviously was a time where every game was Saturday 3:00, and from the days of when we were young and we were looking at teletext and CFAX for the away games and whatever, like trying to get the scores and the score updates, that was always a good thing. Now you're struggling to find one or two a week, aren't you? And if your club's lucky to actually get one of those, certainly playing in Europe, then you're lucky. But it just seems that's kind of just, I don't know. It just seemed a bit weird. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but not an excuse. But again, players still got to step up. It used to be 12 o'clock kickoffs, didn't it?
Yeah,
Remember, we used to play Chelsea all the time. 12 o'clock kickoffs, and we used to actually have stinkers. And that was Mourinho time, wasn't it? It was like the 12 o'clock fight coming out, and then we just ended up, just having stinkers, and he was stinking the place out with his tactics as well. And so those 12-30 games were not good ones. I think we were always cursing them, weren't we? Certainly going away. Ticketing system is ridiculous. John Laguna, I'm 100% confident City will not beat us. Look, I'm more confident in what we put out in the FA Cup against them. And I know there's lots of people have kind of said about us making changes, 6 changes for that game. I think it means nothing. I think it shows that we can match them. And I think that stadium, and if that is rocking like it has been, they're going to be in a game.
If you're not up for playing Man City as a player or a fan, there's something wrong, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, Gator, I genuinely, I don't think they'll beat us. Not at home, no. I don't think they will. And as Liam, I think Liam said it earlier, this is going to be the match that tells us whether we're going to win the league or not this season.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna. It could have been. It could have been 11 points. It had we got maximum points. If we win on Wednesday, but it could be back.
We've still got the game in hand as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got that Everton game, which has now been arranged. Start of March, isn't it? I think, Liam. I think it's come out now. It's been announced. I think
4th of March, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Oh,
that's going to be a big game.
yeah,
So, yeah. But yeah, Emerson said, yeah, the atmosphere was poor, other than the Ashburton Army, as they were singing in parts of the game. I don't know.
Who was banging the drum, Paul? There was even on the telly. All I could hear was this geezer banging the drum.
Yeah, they got like a little section in the clock end at the front, and
Brentford,
they're
all right.
no Arsenal, but they dress in black. I don't agree with that because I think it just, I don't know, it just doesn't look right. Just to see like a kind of waft of kind of like black in a seat or a stand behind the goal, and then people join and jump. Yeah, the atmosphere, what they're doing, great. I'm all for that, but there's got to be some context to just bashing drums just for the sake of it. I think that riled up a few people as well in the stadium. I think for that, I don't know whether or not they've not been used to it. I haven't heard too many complaints all through the year, Liam, about it, but again, that may be to do with the crowd, and we talked about a different kind of crowd irritating people because they're not really used to a drum being whacked, but they're trying to build atmosphere. But I remember looking at the clock end, and I saw this kind of black swath of bodies jumping around and clapping, and then looking above in the stand, and it was like motionless. There weren't no like clapping. There was no like kind of thing like the North Bank that seemed to be quite buzzing and getting the atmosphere, but I couldn't really see too much going on in the clock end apart from that part. And until we scored, that's when the stadium went up in the air. But yeah, it was very cool. And as I say, I think that just comes down to the people who actually were there, and like we said, the empty seats.
Maybe we people were just getting it a bit too optimistic already, and foresee it being an easy match.
Yeah,
and thought it was just turn up and we'll get the points. We can't do that with any game. Like, I look at every game. Every game's tough. Like the next 3 games, Man City at home, Leicester and Aston Villa away, or vice versa, Leicester and Leicester Villa. Like we see what Leicester done Spurs yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So we know we need to be on our game there. Aston Villa, we know Emery's going to get them up for it as well. So
3 massive games once again.
I do think there was a little bit of the fans just thought that it was a bit of a gimme yesterday, that we'll get the 3 points. And it didn't happen, did it?
No. Our Conversation Club said, Liam, smile, mate, we're top of the league. Oh, come on. He ain't that bad.
No, I can't. I'm sorry. It's nothing to do with the club.
No.
I can't smile this weekend. I can't. You ain't let me speak about it yet. But, I can't smile after this week. I can't smile after this weekend.
I can't either.
No. I'm boiling still, raging.
Okay.
We're having to curb it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are having to curb it at the moment.
Right. So a little bit earlier, I say I've been away with a little family kind of event this afternoon. I find this, and hold on a minute. The professional game match officials released a statement, or a little statement tweet saying that they acknowledge and have explained significant errors in the VAR process for us as well as Brighton. And you think an apology or 3 points. What would you rather? I mean, it's all well with where we have this process and we have ex-referees giving decisions based on their interpretations of certain rules that are now clouded. Yeah. My message seems cloudy just saying it. Whereas VAR could be very simple, and that's how it was brought in to be very simple, no grey areas, and get the right decisions. And from seeing the Chelsea game and the offsides for the Chelsea game, that was ridiculous. I think there was one where I think who was it? Was it Felix who went through and he got blocked off? The linesman put the flag up after he got blocked off and said it was offside. But then when it showed it, he was onside. So had he gone in and put the ball in the net, the correct outcome would have been made. Whereas West Ham got the call, which was an incorrect decision. And you look at it like that, where you're suddenly just thinking, there's some games where linesmen are putting flags up. There's some where linesmen are putting or keeping the flag down. And there's no consistency on that side. But to not use the basic protocol, and that is to use the geometry. I mean, we went through wonky lines at one stage, didn't we? When the technology wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
To then get the technology apparently spot on. And then we start changing the rules to the threshold of what is offside, what is onside. And it just seems like it's so cloudy. It's just making it look totally ridiculous now. We're probably the worst interpretation of VAR across the whole world. When you look at how it's all done, we've seen the World Cup, how well it was done, and to be served up this every week, where there's always some decision that's just totally not right. And it's Lee Mason. Yeah, look at Lee Mason, and we go back to that kind of decision at Old Trafford with Odegaard's goal. Martinelli's goal that was disallowed. To a same issue from the same guy, not drawing lines, not following that protocol, and you're suddenly thinking there's something really, really not adding up. And yeah, we'll get it. They would say, "Oh, it's Arsenal moaning again. Arsenal moaning at the refs. It's always about them." Just it's there. And it was a good stat. We dropped five points in 5 different games. 4 of them have been through glaring errors, and ones which have been apologised for. Guys, the floor is yours.
Liam, go first, mate.
You sure?
Yep.
Are you positive?
I'm positive, mate. Go first.
All right, cheers.
Try to keep it clean.
I will. I promise.
We'll keep it clean. If I was a postman, yeah, and I'll go down the street every morning, what's my job?
Put letters through letterboxes.
Post letters through letterboxes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's basic, innit? My job's to post letters through letterboxes. Now, if I go down that street where I'm post no letters through no letterboxes and go back to the station, I've got all these letters, I'm going to be put on some kind of investigation, some kind of warning. But these referees have got away with it for so long, and like, they're just not doing their job. And yesterday's one, the instant with this Lino call, for me, is the worst one today, right? Because the guy's got literally nothing to do. He's sitting in Stockley Park here, right? Literally watching a game of football, and then an instant may occur, right? So a goal gets scored. What's his job then? His job is to make sure there's no fouls involved in that build up to the goal, and to make sure there's no offsides. And if there's no offside, he gets his line out and just make sure. We sat there yesterday, Paul, for about 4 to 5 minutes, yeah, right, waiting for something to happen, right? 4 to 5 minutes for something to happen. What was he doing in that 4 to 5 minutes?
You weren't drawing a line.
I don't know. In the chat, what could you do in 4 to 5 minutes if you were VAR? If you can leave your suggestions clean in the chat, we'll try and get the best one.
So we sat there for 4 to 5 minutes, yeah, right, waiting for this decision, right? And I actually thought the longer it goes, so usually the goal gets given. I was actually thinking, do you know what? I've got a feeling this might be offside, right? And I was thinking as it was going longer and longer, and then obviously the goal was given. Didn't think much of it till the end of the game because you don't. And then obviously you get back to the pub, and then you put it on Twitter, and then you realise that this has happened, and you're sitting there scratching your head, looking at pictures, thinking, well, how's this happened? This can't be a right picture. There's something can't be right here because obviously he went up to Stockley Park. He was sitting there for 4 to 5 minutes, getting out his lines, getting out his measuring. This can't be right. This can't be right. And then to get obviously media break out that obviously that Chris Foy, I think it was when Chris Foy had obviously said that obviously there was a human error. Okay, and obviously they didn't get the lines down. And my question is, yeah, right, if he didn't get the lines down, what the fuck was he doing for 4 to 5 minutes? Because, like, there was 2 phases that he could have been offside, right? And I would have understood, right, if he had at least done one. But apparently both phases are offside. So I then was like, well, who was in VAR? And then it turned out to be Lee Mason. Now, Cesc Fabregas had a massive issue with Lee Mason back in 2011, didn't he? I don't know if you remember. And it totally kicked off. You Google it, type in Cesc Fabregas and Lee Mason. Had a massive, there was a massive fallout about it. Arsene Wenger had a massive fallout of Lee Mason. He actually even said to him, it's always you. It's always you. Yeah, right? This is the same Lee Mason that comes from Greater Manchester who lives in Bolton. Do you know what I mean? And we all know the Manchester situation with us. We all know that Bolton hated us as well, to be honest, back in them days. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, this can't be right. It literally can't be right. And then I find out that he's on the side, that it was him for the Martinelli goal at Old Trafford. Now, I'm sorry, yeah, right. I'm sorry, but there's an agenda here. There's some kind of agenda. I don't know where it lies or where it is, but there's no way, yeah, right, that bloke does not do his job and put the lines down. There's literally zero way, yeah, right, that he doesn't do his job and put the lines down. So either he is corrupt and he's got a massive issue with Arsenal, in my eyes, or something went wrong massively at Stockley Park. But what I've just seen, yeah, right, has kind of scrapped that, because basically, apparently, Howard Webb's absolutely livid and he's about to get rid of him anyway. So apparently, it's broke out tonight that Lee Mason's potentially going to lose his job anyway. But it's I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, do you know what, right? I've moaned about referees and I moan about them all day long, yeah, right? We've had the Mike Riley situation with the 49 unbeaten. We've had so many situations, yeah, right? But this one is just like no other. And this one, I'd calm down after about 12 hours, 12 to 8. I'm still fuming now because this could cost us a title. We're all going to sit here at the end of the season, yeah, right? We're all going to sit here. We lose the title by what goal difference or 1 point. We're all going to sit here at the end of the season, right? We're going to say, this is the game. This is the game that fucked us. This is the game that cost us. And we're all going to come back to this game, yeah, right? And I know people are saying, well, you didn't deserve to win the game. No, we didn't deserve to win the game. We was shit. We was awful yesterday. We didn't play well. But you know what? When people fucking win titles, they play shit. And they win games. They somehow come out of it 1-0 up. And this was the game, yeah, right, that we could have come out of this game 1-0 up, yeah, right. And I can guarantee you, Paul, when they scored that goal yesterday, Trossard, you celebrated it like, fuck me, we're getting out of one here, mate. We've been up against it, yeah, right. And this is the kind of game, the motion through that stadium went off the radar when we scored, because we knew, yeah, right, we hadn't played well, but we found an outcome to score a goal. And do you know what, right? I don't think, yeah, right, and I'll put it out there, I don't think they would have scored if that decision had been given their way. I think we would have seen out that game. I really, really believe we would have seen out that game. I think Arteta would have definitely made a change after that, and we would have seen out that game. And for me, Lee Mason is a fraud, and there's something more to it. There's definitely something more to it now, Lee Mason, and he shouldn't be able to ever touch anything ever again. Because the problem we've got now is, right, if we have another game and Lee Mason's in VAR, well, any kind of controversial incident, he's going to have scope on him straight away.
He was the one who told Seth to don't touch him, wasn't it? I think
I know. Yeah, it was something massive. Yeah, it was a big thing at the time. It was the big. But Wenger had massive issues with him.
Yeah, really, really, really frustrating. But yeah, no, good points, Liam. I know it's straight from the heart because we all know it. We all see it. Des.
Hello. Yes, breathing techniques.
Right.
This is what Liam. I couldn't have put it any better myself. I couldn't have put it any better myself. But I will say this, right? Okay. It is their fault, right? They've admitted it's their fault. So you've either got two choices, I think. But I will want to expand on a few things as well. But just this, they've got two choices. They either replay the match or they give Arsenal 3 points because it's their fault. Whether it was a technical issue, whether it was a human error issue, and I would say give Brighton the points as well because they've been done. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to do something, guys. You can't just we'll just brush it under the carpet because everybody's going to forget about it. But as Liam says, if it gets to the end of the season, we lose by 1 point or goal difference, you ain't going to forget about it. You know what I mean?
You're going to be raging all summer, aren't you?
Exactly, you are. But what I want to expand on as well, right? Okay, there's a foul. Okay, it's a process, gentlemen. It is a process. This is lads in the VAR, don't put Lee Mason, whoever, right? Don't care because the referees and the VAR they need sorting out, right? But it is a process. The whistle blows. They're blowing for a reason, okay? Right. Linesman puts his flag up. Great. VAR should be straight on it. Draw the lines. Do whatever you've got to do. I don't care if it takes 5 minutes, if it's the right decision. But when it takes 5 minutes, it's the wrong decision. Yeah, I'm going to be sitting at home happy as Larry, aren't I? Do you know what I mean? Even Tony was down on his blooming haunches, praying that it wasn't going to get disallowed. That tells you something, yeah. And the thing is, right, these lads that are not doing their job properly, I'm sorry, in any workplace, if you don't do your job properly, you get a warning, you get another warning, you get another warning, and you're gone. Yeah? So they should. What makes referees and VAR exempt? It shouldn't be like that. These lads should be sacked. Yeah? And I'm sorry, you can feel it in my voice because I'm getting a bit loud, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm raging, mate. Absolutely raging. Because end of the day, it's a process. If I'm sat in that room, whistle goes, watch it, put your lines on, watch it again from multiple angles. Don't care how many angles. I mean, even if it was up someone's backside, end of the day, if it makes it the right ruling, because all this does is this makes FIFA or whoever, FA, whoever's involved look bad. Yeah. The best outcome of this is what has their apology done for you two fellas? The chat. What has their apology done? All it's done is made you more angry. Yeah? Like me and Liam are saying, we're raging, and I'm sure you are as well, Paul, but you're keeping a lid on it for the moment. But end of the day, to everybody in the chat, and whoever watches this later on, because there are people who do, put in the comments later on, does the apology make it all right? Because I tell you now, 100% of people are going to go no. Yeah? And it's not just because I'm not saying it just because it's Arsenal. If it happened to any other team, I'd say give them the 3 points or replay the match. And even if you did it behind closed doors. Yeah? Yeah.
Remember that famous game against Sheffield United, wasn't it? Do you remember when we it was a throw-in, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah.
We took the throw in and it should have been stopped, and then we kind of walked the ball into the net, and then we kind of just we scored, and then we said we'll replay it, didn't we?
The fact is, Arsenal have been robbed, right? Brighton, as you brought up their case, have been robbed. And I'm sure there's other teams this season that have been robbed, right? Okay, but this case here is blatant. We have been blatantly robbed. Yeah? And someone has to pay for it. It's like, someone works for you, they don't do the job properly, you don't keep them, do you? Or, if they've cost you money, you want compensation. So, end of the day, as Liam said, this could be, and I don't want to use it as an excuse because I want us to win the league, but this could be the reason why we lose the league if we lose it. And I know there are going to be that, but there's still so many games to go, and I know that. But I've never felt so angry in a match before in my life. I can honestly say. Most things I can just go, oh yeah, all right, we lost fair and square, or but genuinely, like Liam, and I'm still angry now, and I am totally squashing it because I'm not swearing, I'm not, and my missus will tell you, when I'm angry, I get really, really loud, right? Really, my neighbours will hear me. Do you know what I mean? So, and they live there's a gap, but the neighbours would still hear me. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, no, this is absolute. It's made an absolute laughing stock out of the referees and the VAR. Absolute laughing stock out of them. And the apology for me is not enough. We either need to be awarded 3 points, so do Brighton, or we need to replay the match because we've been robbed, totally and utterly robbed. Thank you.
I think it's go on, finish.
No, and breathe. That's it, mate. I'm like,
and breathe. Right, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just sets a real kind of unprecedented kind of like nature. Though, if you start saying about because of a decision, we've got to replay it, or you default points again. It's not Brentford's fault. It's to do with the officials. Yeah, if it was a cup game, potentially, like I said, with our one where we kind of did it because it was the right thing to do because it was at a point where
How about this then, Paul? All right, okay. Where are Brentford at the moment? They're about 7th or 8th, aren't they? Right?
Yeah, pushing Euro places. Yeah.
Yeah, give them the 3 points as well. Then give us both the 3 points for yesterday's match. If it's deemed as unfair towards one, and do you know what I mean? Give both teams the 3 points. Just say right, that match, it's a 3-pointer each because this is wrong. What has happened this weekend? Totally and utterly wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong in September, wasn't it? In Old Trafford, where you look at it like that, and again, it was the thinly veiled apologies where it wasn't really apology, was it? When they suddenly said that there were certain decisions that were incorrectly done by VAR, wasn't it? That's how the Man United one was given, wasn't it? It was like it was part of about 4 goals. That was they should have, but they were incorrect decisions. So it wasn't actually an apology. It's only that this one's now come up and they've given an apology. And the league table now sees us on 51 points plus an apology rather than 53 points.
Yeah. Well, here's one more thing I'll add to it then, right? Fourth referee needs to be more involved in the game. He needs to be watching the screen the whole time or something and be able to go, oi, I want to question that. Do you know what I mean? I know that's simplistic the way I'm saying it.
Or
go on.
Before they give the goal or not the goal, either the fourth official or the referee has to go to the screen and see the line that's got the offside in. They can clarify it. I don't know, but it shouldn't even be this, should it? Really, let's be honest. It shouldn't be this. It's so simple that he had to put a line down. This is where we've got to. That he didn't put a line down, and it shouldn't need another. And it shouldn't need another idea. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't need. Do we get someone to manage the VAR person and have someone sitting next to him, or do we have this, or do we have that? it's that straightforward, isn't it? He should have just literally put a line down and it was offside. And like you said, yeah, right, there ain't going to be no rematch. There ain't going to be no 3 points. It's basically just take this one on the chin and hopefully it don't affect you for the rest of the season. Like, let's be honest, Howard Webb at the moment must be absolutely kind of worried as such, because it could be that the title could determine on this now, which would be a dreadful look for obviously the referee association, obviously the referees, FA, everything, wouldn't it? It's gonna be a dreadful look on them if Man City win the league now by a point, because everyone will go back to, and the only good thing about this is, right, that the press have got involved this time, right? Usually we don't get nothing, do we? It's usually swept under the carpet, but the good thing is that all the press have literally got on top of this straight away, yeah, right? Like, I've watched so much coverage about it on Sky News, a lot of journalists on Twitter just saying how bang out of line it is, etc., etc. But Howard Webb must be now bricking it, thinking, well, what if Man City win the league by a point now? It's going to come back on a decision that was made by a guy that wasn't even in the stadium. That for me just doesn't sit right. The league title could be decided by someone not even in the stadium of that game.
I question it how it's going to look at the end of the season, though. If Arsenal do, and as a club, what standpoint or where Arsenal are going to be sitting as opposed to what they could do? Because obviously there's going to be legality to it all, and potentially there's obviously an error which has been totally messed up with the rules. Look at prize money, for instance, and whatever for even finishing first or second, and you're suddenly thinking, if something legal happens because of that, say we lose it by 1 point or whatever, then legally there's a challenge to be had there, because there is an error that's been done and they've admitted that there's an error. And every club signed up for these kind of rules and the way it's governed. There potentially could be something happen on that side. But yeah, I'm lost for it, because I just see it as a system that is, it's almost like they're passing the buck from the guy in the middle to someone else outside the stadium. If
it's a system
he isn't sure, yeah, he'll pass it back to the guy on the pitch to say, "Oh, I'm not really sure. Go and have a look at the monitor." All in that time, no one can hear what's been said, so you don't know if there's any pressure on him. So it's almost like saying, "Are you going to go against me, or are you going to?" And this is what I find it quite annoying, where it's just there's so much grey matter in the whole process, and until it maybe gets sorted by even, I'd just be getting in how do you put it, players that have played the game that probably haven't reached the levels that they probably wanted to. I'm talking about maybe those ones that don't go into, say, coaching, but have maybe had like bad injuries that have wrecked careers. Rather than going into other areas or whatever, they stay within football and they get involved in that kind of officiating side of things. They understand the way the game is. They understand that they slow the game down. They slow the replays down to basically make any kind of contact really massive. Yeah, that's it. But they'll slow everything down. But then they're not managing the game or seeing what they're seeing slowed down on the basis of understanding the game. They're just seeing it as a referee and someone who hasn't played the game. Hence why we do see some really silly decisions, certainly in those moments, where I think maybe there has to be that kind of level of player involved in this process and getting involved, even maybe just with the training of referees, to actually get to understand it a bit more. I don't know.
But I suppose now I've calmed down for a second, Liam, right? And I know I'm still, don't get me wrong, I'm still angry, right?
Apologies, my language as well.
That's fine, man. But I know there might even be people in the chat, there might, in the fan base, whatever. There is that other side of the coin where, even though we're raging because it went against us in a bad way, there'll be those that are saying, well, we shouldn't put ourselves in that position in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, as I said, mate, I don't agree. The reason I don't agree with that is because there's a rule. There's a rule that can, like, look at today. Man United were given a goal that was onside because they were able to get the lines down. So, yeah,
I'm just saying there'll be those that say that.
I very much look at it as like there's going to be games in the season that you're going to really struggle, and if you win them, mate, you basically count it as like that's a championship winning performance. We've been murdered a little bit. They could have gone 2-0 up, and that was the game yesterday that we could have literally put a stamp down. Like we just won 1-0. It would have been a great setup going into the Man City game. We didn't play well, but for me, if it was a referee mistake or a linesman mistake, then do you know what? I take it on the chin because that is human error for me. That's human error. They're in the middle of a game that obviously it's Premier League football, isn't it? So exactly. We will all sit here raging still about it, but I'm sure like we wouldn't be to the kind of level we are now. But because the person's got a screen, he's got nothing else to do apart from make that decision and make it correctly, and he's taken 5 minutes to do it. It's just not right. It's just not right. And I get the performance wasn't good enough. I get that we didn't deserve to win, but do you know what? That would have been 3 massive points for me. But then we have to look now, don't we? Like the reason the club ain't gonna like the FA know. The FA know that clubs ain't gonna obviously take them to task as such. Like they know we got a massive game against City on Wednesday. Like the club can't focus on what happened now, can they? They've got to focus on that big game Wednesday because if we do win that, then pretty much the Premier League's massively in our hands again. The title's in our hands again, and it's how we do it. But I just worry, mate, that if we get to the end of the season, we could be sitting here very, very disappointed, and it's not going to have a good look. It's not going to have a good look on no one, is it? At the end of the day.
No, but I hope this lights a flame under the team, and against Man City, and we just go out there all guns blazing. I hope this gives us back our impetus and our passion and how we have been playing. Do you know what I mean? And think, hold on, this ain't going to go on there with the mentality that this ain't going to happen to us again. Do you know what I mean? And come on, boys, just really get the blood boiling and give it your all. Sort of. I hope this is the catalyst that puts us back where we were. If you know what I mean.
But as I said before, I think once we do get Jesus back, I think we'll be a different team. Yeah. I think we definitely will be a different team in terms of it will open up the game a lot more for our attacking talent. I think we've done well enough to get to where we are now, but hopefully we can get him back by either Leicester or Aston Villa or Leicester, and then re-go again because obviously he's a main player for us, and he's going to be massive in those away games at Anfield, at Man City. And do you know what? I'm actually quietly confident if he starts in them games because I just think away from home we've got so much talent and we can hit teams on the counter. And I think it's easier for us sometimes away from home because teams come out at us more. Do you know what I mean? Like at the Emirates, it's not easy. Like we've sat in most games, a lot of games, Paul, where the games have been really, really tight. Like, look, we owned Fulham, Aston Villa, they were late wins. Like, there's not been many easy wins. Like, I think there's only 2 games this season in the Premier League that we've won more than like a one goal advantage. And I think that was one of them was Tottenham, the 3-1, and the Forest game. If you look at every other game, it's been the West Ham game as well. Every other game has been really, really tight. And I think that sometimes it's easier for us to play away from home. And I think with Jesus back in the team, we're definitely set up well to play away from home in them big games.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to learn a lot about the team, aren't we, and how we are in the next 3 games because we'll see it. Well, and again, when they do talk about it's in our hands, the league. Yeah, I mean, the league's in our hands. It's ours to lose. Look, we've not been in this situation. We're not talking as Arsenal as being the number 1 powerhouse in English football. as we were. You know, when we all know that. We know we fell from grace a little bit when we moved to the Emirates, and this is where I say it's unknown territory. And when we look at that plan, what we're in, and we're saying, yeah, that plan was to get Champions League football, get back to that next rung. We're way above what we're doing, and for what we've achieved now, if you obviously said that we'd have been in this position with the record that we've got this year, like now, it'd be like, yeah, you'd be like, oh, shut up. Wouldn't you? You'd like, I'd take that. You know what I mean? Just the way it was. Just like, yeah, lost 2 games, drawn. Was it 3 games now? Is it? Yes, it's 3 games now, isn't it? So, yeah, you'd be over the moon. You'd be like, yeah, so well, fair play, and yeah, so we're top of the league. And
you'd rather the blips now when we're top of the league than the blip when we're second.
Look, we get those players back, and then we've got a place to step up again, haven't we? And yeah, I'd rather have this than being on that last part. And with people kind of going to like last season saying about how we fell away. It's a massive difference to how we were towards the latter part of the season to what we're doing now.
And let's be fair, we've overachieved. I think I can speak for all 3 of us. We've overachieved this season.
Oh, massively. This is why I say I don't want to beat down on the players. I don't want to beat down on Arteta, because again, we are doing things that we weren't expected to be doing. And yeah, we're going to get bumps. We're going to get things on the road that are going to cause roadblocks for us. Yeah, we're going to lose a game here and there. And yeah, it isn't going to be nice football all the time, because, you know what I mean? One player in that team that goes or drops a little bit makes more effects on the team throughout. And we've seen it where it could be Jesus, it could be Martinelli, it could be Odegaard, it could be Xhaka, it could be Partey having slightly less kind of impact on games. But yeah, we're trying to get and address the backup, aren't we? And we've done it to a certain degree, and I think we've certainly improved from what we had last year, and certainly the levels, and that goes to show that we're here. But look, we're coming into March in a couple of weeks, and look, back into Europe, and there's so much football to be played, and it's not a chance to get. And I say this is where I say about the fans at the moment, they just get a little bit hysterical. Just in, it's almost like change the nappy kind of times as soon as we lose a game, and it's like,
well, the games are going to come thick and fast now as well.
Yeah, we're going to lose games. It's natural, but we're not a finished product. We're not at City's level. We haven't got a £300 million bench to call upon. We haven't got a multi-million pound kind of probably reserve team that they've probably got as well. But it's just again, it takes time, and I'd rather be where we are and building the way we are building than what Chelsea have done, what Man City have done in the past. And look, I'm proud of my club, and I'll keep supporting them. And yeah, I won't be letting a couple of results kind of batter it down really, because yeah, they're well above schedule. And look, you may say that if we don't win the league at the end of the season, I see it as a failure. I don't see it as a failure. I still see it as a disappointment because of where we are. But I know that we are in a good place. And
do you think me and Liam are overreacting with the way we're feeling?
You and Liam? No.
Yeah. I just wondered what you thought.
I feel similar to all of you. And I say I'm angry. I'm disappointed about all those things. But I see where we are and where we're going. I don't want to be jumping on like some fans just really on Twitter, just total meltdown.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't see us as favourites still. I never have. I don't see us favourites because I think at the end of the day, yeah, right, we have got our games coming up in April as well. So I think you've always got to look at a Man City like they've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, got the squad. Do you know what I mean? But there's a big but in this. There is a good chance that we can do it. There's a very good chance we can do it, and we just need the resources to us because it's different with us than Man City. If we lose a player, it's hard for us to replace him, isn't it? So it's hard for us to replace a Jesus. It's hard for us to replace a Partey. Do you know what I mean? Even an Odegaard. Like if Odegaard gets injured, like I'm not comfortable that Vieira's at the level yet that he needs to be.
Not
But
after that free kick yesterday. He's not.
oh, don't get me going on that one. Don't get me going on that one. But
what was,
do you know,
what was that?
it was dreadful. But do you know what? If we don't win the league this year, yeah, right, and we finish second, right, it's not a failure whatsoever. Like we were back in the Champions League, which was the main priority. We haven't been in the Champions League for 7-8 years. We'll start hitting a market where we can attract even better players than we've been able to attract for the last 7-8 years. Do you know what I mean? And we probably had to rob Peter pay Paul at times to get certain players in, and that's what we've done. But it's a total different squad and total different team. We've got so many good youngsters coming through the system. And we've got a young squad. We've got the youngest squad in the league, so it's a start, isn't it? It's the start of something. This is, and it's going to get better and better. And I still think City are favourites, if I'm being totally honest, only because obviously they've got the experience and they've done it. But if we do win Wednesday, we put ourselves in a better position. If we draw, that's not a bad result. If we draw on Wednesday, either if we draw Wednesday, it's not a bad result whatsoever. It's not. Do you know what I mean? But we are. I think the game suits us Wednesday. The Man City are not going to come sit there with 9-10 men behind the ball. We know that. Do you know what I mean? I think that suits us down the ground, and I think it'd be like the Liverpool game and the Man United game, where both teams just go hammer and tong at each other, and that's what the big teams do. That's why the games have been so bloody good at the Emirates this year in terms of the Liverpool game and the Man City game, because they've just been fantastic games to watch, and I think this is another fantastic game Wednesday. And I think I think whatever happens Wednesday, we're in such a better situation now. And look at Tottenham at the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? But they spend more money.
I can't see it, the tables that I've only got the top four.
Yeah, can't see him.
They spent more money than some, didn't they? Than us. They finished top four, and they're not having a good time at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, we've had a couple of iffy results, but we're still there. We're still in a title race. Do you know what I mean? We're still going to be in a title race after for Wednesday, whatever happens.
Do you know what it is? You're right, Liam, man. Do you know what it is? I'm Arsenal till I die. Simple as, right? Always will be. Always have been. Always will be. Right? And like you said, Paul, we're Arsenal. We can do it. And I'm not going to say anything negative, because one thing I will say, this season so far has been intense, but it's been enjoyable as well. You know? And it's nice to come on here the weeks that I've come on, and hopefully in the future and just say, you know what, I've really enjoyed it. You know? And I know there's ups and downs. I know when, like I think Richard just said in the chat, we're not going to scroll. We are not going to scroll to winning this title. We are going to have to earn it.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it the Arsenal way. That's fair saying it. We are going to do it the Arsenal way. And do you know what? I wouldn't even mind, right? All joking apart, I wouldn't even mind if it was like 1989 when it was Arsenal against Liverpool. If we have one of them matches at the end of this season and we've scored in the last 5 minutes to win it, I'd take it. I'll rip your arm off now. I will rip your arm off now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, just want to just dip in the chat again, guys. Conversation Club. A little shout out to the assembled. Good to see you watching again. English said, well done to Alex, John, Tim, and Terry at the Gunners Pub. So the Gunners Pub for hosting a little a live kind of show yesterday. Hopefully we might do a couple of other little times, get something like that going, because I think it'd be quite a good crack. Certainly with a few of us around talking about the Arsenal, and getting to know each other. But yeah, no, it's well done for yesterday. John the Gooner, I said we'd win the league 8 games in. I stand by. Keep the
Fair play,
faith.
John. Fair play.
Yeah, yeah, we know. We know. We heard you, John. We heard you, John. And yeah, I don't doubt that we're there. I just have that in my heart to still say that yeah, it is an unknown for this group, and we are playing with a young team, and with a young team comes potential inconsistencies, as opposed to playing an oil team. Yeah, they are kind of faltering a little bit. City playing with Haaland, but look, they've got the ability to kind of put people to sword, haven't they? With the quality they've got, and they've been there, done it. So I look at it and I think, yeah, it's still on as long as we're kind of there and abouts. It can be done, but we just got to get past there and just kind of just get that kind of form going again, and just start getting a little bit of that confidence back again. I think as well. I mean, that's a big thing as well, because this is an unknown for that group as well, isn't it? Just because of how well the season's gone, to have then lost the 2 games and then the draw. Obviously, the City game was FA Cup, but it's a little knockdown, isn't it? And it's just like, yeah, you just don't do it. But that winning mentality, that winning feeling, it's got to come back. And yeah, had yesterday been a win, it might have been better.
Passion's got to be reignited. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's it. I think playing in an atmosphere like Wednesday has that potential to really kind of suddenly do it. And I know we talk about, yeah, well, that Man United game was like absolutely buzzing, but then we went to Everton and did what we did. Yeah, I'm hoping that will be a massive confidence boost should we get any real good performance, positive performance, because that will tell them we can do something. Bearing in mind last season where we obviously played them in the new year, didn't we? And then they had the penalty, and yeah, that was another VAR kind of mess up, wasn't it? In all honesty, that was yeah a penalty. But if you looked at it, the guy just dived totally the wrong way, didn't he? From the contact, the shirt pull, and then he dived the opposite way from the shirt pull. So yeah, it will show us a lot. I think Wednesday. What else? What else?
Just on that Wednesday.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one, isn't it? Martinelli and Trossard. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Because I just think like at the moment it's a do we play Martinelli Wednesday? I wasn't sure either if he had a slight injury when he went off on Saturday. If I'm being honest, because he seemed to slow down a bit just literally before he went off. I thought he might have had a little bit of an injury.
To me, start with Martinelli
And then bring him on.
and have Trossard on as an impact player if needed.
Yeah, I think I agree. For the reason I'd start Trossard Saturday at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Do we keep it the same? Because obviously before we went to the live chat, I was going to bring up one player, and that was Zinchenko.
He's got a bit mental lately, isn't he?
And this was one thing, and we were talking about changing things up, and we were saying about what was happening with Tierney. And the more the game went on, the more I thought this guy's having a nightmare. Zinchenko. And it was like, although he was everywhere. It was all like there was all these little missed passes. There were all these little kind of almost like he's doing too much. Really trying to force stuff through, and it kind of sums up how the game ends. How he was after the Man City game, really riled up. After the Everton game, again really riled up. Pulled off the pitch by Arteta to go into there, and you're suddenly thinking he really wants to beat Chelsea to the title. City to the title, and really get one over him. But he almost feels like he's maybe just working himself up too much. I don't know.
It's like a glossy dead fall.
What did you think, Liam, about him? Obviously, yeah. I think Tierney not coming on was probably more a worry because I thought that we did need that kind of little bit of width.
Don't
Certainly,
get it.
yeah.
Don't get it. Zinchenko wasn't working yesterday. It was probably one of his worst games I've seen him have. And you're right, he has been losing his head a little bit. He lost it at Man City, didn't he? Then obviously, let's be honest, Neil Maupay probably wind anyone up. We're being totally honest here, but Kieran Tierney's at the club at the end of the season in my eyes at the moment. Like
I agree.
Kieran Tierney is a good left back. He's a very, very good player, yeah. And if we're not bringing him on into games when Zinchenko is not working out, then I don't see what future he has at the club. And it's quite sad, really, because I like him as a player. I think he offers an alternative to Zinchenko. And I thought that we could have done with him in the last 15, 20, especially when we went 1-0. I thought, just get him on and get him to bomb down the wing last 15 minutes. He's got energy. Do you know what I mean? He'll add a different dimension. What can you lose? Do you know what I mean? But he didn't bring him on again, and I was just like, wow, he's not brought him on whatsoever. And the guy will probably start in most clubs in the Premier League if he was at left back for them. So I think he's gone. I think he's gone in the summer. Someone said to me, "No, I don't think he'll go." Yeah, he will go. He's a Scottish international. Like we was talking about him 2 seasons ago, being the captain of the club, being better than John Robertson, and now he's sitting on the bench, not getting no minutes. So Kieran Tierney goes for me in the summer. But with Zinchenko, I think this is where Arteta's going to have to manage him. Is he just needs to manage his enthusiasm at times? Do you know what I mean? Because it seems to be like it's great, but we're in a time where we've got to stay calm. We've got to stay positive. Do you know what I mean? We've got to make sure that obviously we don't trigger people, especially people like Shaq, who's had a good season.
Braveheart, like Zinchenko. I'm expecting him to come out on a horse, just like in flipping Braveheart. It's like literally, he's that kind of player, and he's that one that's literally going through and really finding everyone up, and you're just suddenly thinking, just calm down and just
sometimes. But you know what, right? He didn't have a great game yesterday, but then I thought he was unbelievable against Man United. Yeah. So hopefully on Wednesday, fingers crossed that he's gonna have the bee in his bonnet, but keep himself calm as such, because. Them Man City players, I think they like to rub it in a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they would love to rub it in on Zinchenko and Jesus a little bit if they possibly could.
They tried it, didn't they? They tried it after the game, didn't
they? Yeah. So, yeah, just look, the Kieran Tierney, obviously that's what I think, but I think with Zinchenko, I think hopefully there's a big game Wednesday coming out of it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Richard,
can I just say one thing on Tierney? Sorry.
No, sorry. You've said enough.
Okay, cool.
Carry on.
Right. No, Liam, you're spot on, mate. Right. But if he doesn't play Tierney soon, he will be gone in the summer. Totally agree. What I've noticed about Zinchenko, passion is one thing, but when you light a fuse and just watch him go, that's uncontrollable. Yeah, he needs the Zinchenko, great player. Tierney, great player. Don't want to see him gone because Tierney's more defensive than Zinchenko. Zinchenko should be playing in the midfield, really, right? Where Tierney should be playing at the back. But he needs to pull the reins in a bit on Zinchenko because he is absolutely he's going to kick someone's face in, and I don't mean but he's going to do something, and then we're going to lose him for 3 games, and it will all be because of passion.
He's going to kick someone's face in a fair way. Is that what you said?
Maybe not kick someone's face, but you know what I mean? It's
I know.
He's going to do something out of passion, which is going to get him sent off.
Yeah, and we've seen that, haven't we, before? certain
And
players.
don't get me wrong, I rate him highly. He's a great player, great for Arsenal, but so's Tierney. And if you want to keep Tierney, you've got to, yeah, like Liam said yesterday, should have came on. If it weren't working with Zinchenko, which it wasn't, because I think he lost his head quite a bit yesterday, and he was making passes and shooting when he shouldn't be. Bring Tierney on, especially when we'd scored. I would have brought Tierney on as well.
Yeah.
We had nothing down the flanks yesterday, especially down the left hand side, Joe, right? Because as I said, Martinelli was playing as an inside. He was playing literally centrally at times yesterday, and then when Trossard come on, he played a little bit. He played different, obviously, and that's where he got his goal. But I don't think Martinelli would have been there for that goal. Do you know what I mean? I really don't think he'd have been there, but Trossard was there. But it just cried to me in the last 15 minutes that we needed to do something down that left-hand side. And every time we went down that left-hand side, we were so slow in terms of what we was doing that we'd always pass the ball back, always pass the ball back, always pass the ball back. When you're thinking, at least if Kieran Tierney bombed down, that gives us another option. Do you know what I mean? That gives us another option where, like they know we're not just going to pass it back. And we've got that option where it's Kieran Tierney, which takes out players.
Tierney can cross a ball as well, though, can't he, guys? I mean, let's be fair. Tierney can cross a ball.
Yes.
I don't think we had the players yesterday, though, mate. If he crossed the ball yesterday, mate, I don't think that would have done.
Probably not.
We go back to that first game of last season, didn't we, where Tierney could cross a ball against Brentford away, and I think he hit like 12 crosses, and like it was only the last cross of the 12 that we finally managed to get a shot, which might have been a save by the keeper. But we had like so many crosses that went to no one. That's what I'm saying. It's getting players in the box and being that threat. And
I think we need a right back like that as well, mate. I think we need a right back who can get right down. Because we've got Tomiyasu and Ben White who ain't naturally attacking for fullbacks. You know what I mean? But why don't, like these attacking fullbacks? I think that we need on the bench to bring on in the last 20 minutes of games. Because you look at Man City, that's what they did, didn't they? They went out and bought like 3 or 4 of them at one go.
Yeah.
Because they're so massive to Man City's game. Like, what was it, Cancelo? I know Mendy at the time. Obviously, he ain't playing now for his reasons. But even look at right back, obviously, Cole Walker. I can't think who was the other player they had there. But they had 4. They had 4 of them because they're so important. Yeah. And I think that's what we need as a right back as well. We need someone who can literally play right back, who can come on in games and just be proper attacking.
Yeah, no, all good, mate. All good. Yeah, no, good points. Let's do the last bits. John the Gooner, disagree, Paul. It's failure if we blow the title, mate. It's in our hands. We've only lost 2 games. We ain't going to falter. Again,
he's right. He's right. Yeah. He's right because it's such a golden chance to win the title. I totally get where he's like. This is the season where we're never going to have the opportunity where Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea are so far behind. Do you know what I mean? Man United are creeping back up, but I think their March and April potentially will rule them out in the end. But yeah. I do get what you're saying because I don't think there's going to be a better opportunity in this year to win the title. If you look at it the other way, though, and the way, obviously, with the way you're saying about it, and in the day, if we do get second, if we do end up with second place, it's not a disaster.
No, I agree. I would take it. It means European football. It means Championship football, doesn't it? Champions League.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just the words. I think failure would be disaster to me. That's what I would see failure. Failure, not expanding on what we did the previous season and regressing. I think that would term as failure for me.
Like start of the season, if you said Arteta would get a second place, you'd have jumped that all day long, wouldn't
you? Yeah, all day long. If you say, oh yeah, we lost 2 games going into coming into March or in February, and we're suddenly saying, yeah, we're top of the league, 50 odd points, and you're suddenly thinking, yeah, brilliant.
Man City are dropping points that you never thought they'd drop points at, aren't they?
No, but it's a good season.
It is, and we've got to stay positive.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. Yeah, did you all know we'd be top of the league this season? No. So, yeah. So.
No.
Kidding yourself if you think not winning the title is disappointment. It'll be disappointing to not do it, to get ourselves in the position. I think that's it. I think that's what it is. Where we are, we'd see ourselves in this very good position, yeah, it will be disappointing. Just like being in the cup final. You know what I mean? You go to the cup final and it's between you or the other team, and you know, and look at those cups we had against City, and we played Chelsea in the semis and finals, and no one gave us a shoe in there, did they really? And then we went and beat City in the final, and those little chances can happen. And again, it's up for us to keep being consistent and be as consistent as we can be, and then that should right itself. And then we'll all be having a beer together and opening some champagne, hopefully at the end of the season.
That would
So
be nice.
yeah, it would be nice. Probably at the Gunners pub or outside the Gunners pub where
That would be cool. Do you mind if I go to London at the end of the season, Sam? When would be that? About April.
well, not that early.
Eh?
We'd stay there all month.
End of April, June-ish, April, May, June, or whatever, whenever.
Jesus.
I'm just throwing it out there, mate.
He's coming over for 3 months. He's done. He's off on the wedding. Jesus Christ, he's going all out. Going all out.
At the end of the season, I want to meet up with the lads if possible. Yeah, cool, great. Got to hear confirmation.
He's booked in. All right, it's fine. Conversation Club, John with 2 8th place finishes, a 5th last season, and now top 4. It won't be a disappointment. Yeah, it's again. There's the 2 ways of looking at it. Like Liam said, isn't it? It's that kind of initial disappointment where we are now to that longer term kind of plan of we need to rise and get to where we need to get to, and we are where we need to get to now. But look, we all want to win the title. We all want to do it. We haven't seen it happen, so we're in that unknown at the minute. So as long as everything goes right, we'll get the job done. Yeah, and that goes with injuries. That goes with a bit of luck, and yeah, just everyone needs a little bit of lady luck on the side, don't they? So so let's hope. And John, I hope your prediction comes true, mate, because I know you've been saying it for a long time, and everyone was laughing at you as well at the start. Everyone was laughing. I remember.
He lost last.
He should have bet on it. He bet 40-1, I think it was. 40-1 at the start of the season. Arsenal.
Good odds, that.
I think if you look at the last 3 games we got, and you look at the last 3 games they got, if we're ahead at that point, I think you'd think we were pretty much comfortable that we'd do it with our last 3 games, because they've got Chelsea, they've got Everton away, Chelsea at home, and Brentford away the last 3 games. It's tricky games, isn't it?
Mate. Every week will change, and this is why I think this season is so. Do you know what I mean? You can't really say, all right, this look at like even just putting Tottenham there. They go and beat City last week, and then go and put out that performance. Just even like Leicester playing rubbish, and then they've had a couple of good results, and then they go and beat Tottenham 4-1. But you just look at it, and you just think every week there's a shock that's done. There's a team that really kind of just puts it in.
There's some tricky games there for him. There's some tricky games.
Yeah.
You can't take any game in this league now for granted.
No. But look, guys, I think we've covered some really good stuff tonight. I think it's been a really good, certainly live wire kind of like feelings. I think certainly it's been a little bit raw with some of the stuff, and I'm sure there'll be more talk about it as we go on with VAR and the rules, and you could have a whole kind of 2-hour show just on VAR, I reckon. Discussing it. It's mental, and this technology was supposed to be taking away these kind of conversations in the pub after the game.
The one thing I don't get about VAR, Paul, just quickly here, right, is anywhere else in the world it works, but it just doesn't seem to work over here.
Yeah. That's what we got to kind of work out and see what the fault is. Is the fault that we're giving failed referees that weren't good enough to be proper top referees a lucrative job to then manage other referees to then give their opinions on their decisions. And you're suddenly thinking, yeah, it's like the blind leading the blind. And you're suddenly thinking, there's no sense to it. But it's been really good, guys. I think I know it's straight from the heart, and yeah, apologies for a little bit of colourful language, but as I say, it just shows the passion with how we talk about our club. But look, there's some really good stuff in the live chat. Des, Liam, yeah, really, really good to have you on. And yeah,
Cheers,
2 hours, 10 minutes, mate, just talking about Arsenal, and it's flown by. So, yeah, no, really, really appreciate you all coming on and getting involved. So, yeah, really good. So,
Liam, it's always a pleasure, mate. It's always a pleasure with you, Liam, mate.
Yeah.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
We roll on to Wednesday. Predictions. What do we want to do? Predictions?
Sure, yeah, go on.
2-1 Arsenal. Actually,
You nicked my one.
no. Do you know what? I'm going to go 3-2 again. Like we've gone 3-2 Liverpool, 3-2 Man United. Let's go for a 3-2 again.
Well, I thought you were going to nick my 2-1, Liam, so I'm going to go back to me 2-1.
Goes your 2-1.
Yeah.
I've got to be different. I can't really go for a 1-0. That will be very nervy. Oh, I'm good. I'm just going to have to go 1-1. I don't know. I could go 3-1, but I'm not sure we can do it. I think it'll be a tight one. It'll be a goal. There'll be a goal difference. I think
It could be another VAR. It could be another VAR error.
No,
I mean, it could be 3-2. It could be like 2-1. It could be 1-0, or it could be 1-1, or 2-0. Yeah.
I'm going 2-1, mate. And
I was going to sit on the fence there.
I hope that. You know what? After this little debacle this week, maybe they should do the rest of the season without VAR.
Be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would, wouldn't it? It really would. But that's all I'm going to say on it. I don't want to kick off another conversation.
I'm going for Odegaard to score on Wednesday.
Oh, get in, mate. Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Odegaard.
Yeah. Odegaard, and Saka. Odegaard and Saka. That's what I'll go for.
Got Xhaka 25-yarder.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Gabriel header from the corner.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'd take a goal from Xhaka, mate. I would take one. If he belts one in, good luck with it.
Yeah.
That's what I love. A Zinchenko winner.
Yeah, that would be stupid because that would
That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be icing on the cake. That.
Yeah, that'd be the perfect ending.
No, let's just get positive vibes. That's all for Wednesday, and make it a place to be really, really, really big, because the team needs it, and they really need to get on it right from early. So just one other quick thing as well. Just saw a little comment. Aguna Matata. I like that. It's a good little name, eh? A little play on the words. We need to get 2 up top from now on. The way we play to find out, and it's
I get what you're saying.
The way we play, find out now, change it.
Mm-hmm.
We've said about this. I think I've said about it a few times about playing someone alongside the striker, and you're just suddenly thinking, we are a little bit too isolated, and to have that player. I think that was more when Aubameyang and Lacazette was kind of. And I think we did play. We played a couple of games with 2 up front, didn't we? That season, like last season, and it looked a little bit better. I think it was more in Europe. I think we played, but it's something that we can potentially look at. I'm sure.
Do you think Jesus is gutted that he's not playing against Man City?
Yeah.
He will be, but as long as we've got him for the away game.
Yeah, that's it.
I think, do you know what? I think we can get away with him not having him at home, but we need him in that away game. We need him at Anfield, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Well, we got some more games coming up, haven't we, man? Newcastle City away. Jesus. But we need him in them games.
No, definitely. Right, guys. Well, that is it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Really good.
Chat.
Really good stuff. So, yeah, this was the big Sunday show. 2 hours and 15 minutes of it. So, yeah, thanks, guys. You're still awake. And, yeah, let's roll on. Let's roll on Wednesday. See you later.
Come on, you Gunners.
Up the Arsenal.
Call the Gooners.